for August 18th, 2025. And since Ms. Lorraine decided she'd miss today's meeting, I'm going to have to ask Mrs. Orozco, she would lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we please have roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Liz Silva,
Present.
Councilmember Scott Fund, excused absence. Councilmember Lorraine Worthy, excused absence. Councilmember Maria Roscoe.
Present.
And Mayor Jose Rios.
Present. Before we begin this meeting, we are privileged and humbled to have two visitors from very far away to come visit our little community. So Carmen,
Just as I
perfect timing.
Okay, I'm up. This guy right here. So we're very fortunate to have Joe Matthews and Bruno, oh my gosh, Bruno Cuffman come out and visit us in Gonzales today, spend some time with us. I'll let them introduce themselves briefly so that you all know who they are and why they're here, exploring our little town a little bit more. But I want to thank you for putting Gonzales on your list of to-dos and getting to know us and coming out and visiting and spending some time with us. So if you want to introduce yourself so that everybody knows why you're here.
Thank you very much. My name is Bruno Kaufmann. I'm a Swiss-Swedish journalist covering local democracy around the world. And I heard so much about Gonzales. So when I had the opportunity to come here and to learn more about what you're doing, I'm very pleased to be here and to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
I'm Joe Matthews. I've columnist known to some of you, have been here many times over the last 8-10 years. I've written about Gonzales and some of its successes. Bruno and I run I live in Los Angeles, but I run around the state. Bruno and I run a global forum on democratic practice, a lot about local governance and democracy, always free and public. We've been doing it for 17 years. And I've been talking up Gonzales as like, this town that just has the right spirit, democratic culture, punches way above its weight. And he's finally, after 17 years, come to see if I've been putting him on or not. So it's great to be with you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you stay right here? We have a little gift for you.
That was not deserved, but.
Sure. Do you see the beauty of this little beauty? Hey, hello. Hey, watch that. I want to see the farm. I noticed. And like, the nice new little shop. Not still money. So these are a couple of little small gifts and half of our community for taking the time to come down and visit. Oh, come get it. Thank you so much.
Can we go one way first? Can we all stay in the front, right? Yes.
Joe.
Sorry.
So it sounds like we will be
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Right there where you, normally you take pictures.
Not ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
I only have, yes.
okay. Thank you. By the way, you did tell me that I couldn't see too good, you had to step off. I'm like, no, you started something that direction.
Okay, so.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll go this way. Yes, thank you.
And then we got the chair.
Yes. All right, Moving on, we have two presentations. The first one is the fire department ballot measure survey report. Who will be doing that?
I will do the introduction and we have the Magellan team that's going to be doing the slideshow.
Okay.
In June, we put out a poll to see what the appetite of the community was regarding a potential parcel tax to help us bring in some funding for the fire department. And tonight, Magellan is going to be sharing some of the results with us. And they'll be online to answer any questions that you may have as well. So can you hear us?
I can. Can everybody hear me?
Oh,
there?
it's really low. Can you?
Volume's really low.
Any better? Not great.
Give us one,
Whoa.
that was
okay.
mine. Give us a second. See if we could turn it
Okay.
up on our end.
No problem.
Can you say something?
Yep, this is David Flaherty. Can you hear me okay?
Still low.
Can you say something again, please?
Yep, again, David Flaherty, test.
Wow. Got the ears. Yeah. I know with Tamsec, and they always have trouble connecting with their server, so most of the time I'm doing this. Where it works.
Well, we had problems last time too.
That's right, we did.
Okay, try again now.
Yep, David Flaherty, test.
Oh, it's this one, sorry. I think. Okay, again?
Again?
One more time.
Okay, David Flaherty, test.
Can you ask him again, Jason?
One more test, please.
Sure, David Flaherty, test.
It's getting better. Give us a second here.
Okay.
Can you try one more time?
Sure, David Flaherty, test.
That's better.
Okay.
Let's try this, and if not, you, Carmen, you have the whole presentation, right?
Yeah, I think we can hear them. So let's go ahead and try.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Good
that's
enough?
better.
Okay.
Pretty loud.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. My name is David Flaherty. I'm the head of Magellan Strategies. We're a public opinion research firm based in Colorado. We do a lot of work with fire districts, fire departments, ballot measure surveys for local governments such as Gonzales and so forth. So we appreciate the opportunity of measuring the opinion of your residents and trying to accurately educate and inform them of this potential ballot measure. So can you go to the second slide? Okay. The objectives, there are several. We have a sort of way that we go about educating and informing and measuring opinions for potential fire service ballot measures. First and foremost, we like to measure job approval ratings of the fire department. whether or not they think the, city or the town spends taxpayer money wisely. Since the purpose of this is to improve and generate new additional revenue for the fire department, it's important to learn if people feel that the risk of fire as well as emergency services has increased. So there is a method to our questions, in addition to sharing with them the actual ballot language of what may be put forth on the ballot language. So with that, let's just get into the results. Next slide, please. And just so you know the methodology, and we interviewed a total of 133 registered voters in the city. The survey was conducted from June 18th to July 6th. The measurements have a margin of error of plus or minus 8.36%. Population subgroups will have a higher margin of error. And the survey results are weighted to be representative of the voter demographics for a June 2026 election. And on the left-hand side, you can see there one of the methods we use to invite residents to share their opinion and participate in the survey. So next slide, please. Okay, first and foremost, we start out measuring, fire risk. The question simply, do you think the risk of fires increased, stayed the same, or decreased in the last couple of years? And as you can see, half of the residents say definitely increased, only 7% decreased, and 41% about the same. If you look at some of the population subgroups, again, as in my state as well as yours, unfortunately, the risk of fire has become more frequent and prevalent. So the bottom line is this is a good measurement that at least your voters do feel, yes, the fire risk has increased. And what does that matter? Well, if they feel that the need has increased, they may be more likely to support a ballot measure. So this, overall is a pretty good measurement where your voters don't need to be convinced that the risk has increased. Next slide. In addition, obviously, to the fire department and putting out fires, emergency services, and nearly 2/3 of voters said the need has definitely increased in the last couple of years, and 29% about the same. Again, this is a good indication that, your voters you don't need to be convinced in any way that, emergency services has increased and therefore, asking for additional revenue to improve or provide more services in emergency areas makes sense. So next slide. The job approval rating of the Gonzales Fire Department. This is obviously an excellent reading. 2/3 strongly approve of the job the fire department is doing, and overall 90% approve. So again, we're asking this question. Sometimes we do come across, issues where there may have been past actors or past management where people felt that the fire department, for whatever reason, was not doing a good job. That's clearly not the case here. And, you get an A+, and we can move on from here. Like, you don't need any convincing. People truly appreciate the fire department and their services. So next slide. Yep. Okay, now this question we do like to ask, is the fire department fiscally responsible? Why do we ask this question? Sometimes there's voters and taxpayers may feel that, look, I think they've done a great job, and I approve of what they're doing. However, they may have pause or reservations because they feel sometimes that money has been mismanaged or a capital project perhaps was not done well. With a 56% overall, approval rating where people do agree that, the city does, the department does spend, is fiscally responsible and spends taxpayer money wisely. This is a very good reading. And 1/3 saying they don't have an opinion. This is very normal. We don't expect, the city to be, on a regular basis, educating and informing. Overall, this is a very good measurement, and only 8% disagree. So going through those sort of environmental, questions that we just walked through, you're in a good place, and your voters are in a good place. So then we move on to the next slide, and we start introducing and measuring opinions around support and opposition levels for a potential ballot measure. So next slide, please. Now, this measurement is what we consider just a general, non-specific. Would you support or oppose a fire tax measure to create additional funding specifically for the fire department? 7 out of 10 voters say yes. This number historically is going to be higher before we get into the details of what it could cost your voters and taxpayers. So this is a great reading, but now we're going to get into the details and see where we go from here. So next slide, please. Now, this part is where we actually provide and put in front of voters and have them read what the actual ballot measure would read as. Rather than paraphrasing, we do want voters to read exactly what they may read, next June. And so we, present this question by saying, we're considering a ballot measure that would be in June of 2026. Please read this and indicate if you would vote yes and approve it or vote no and reject it. And understand something here too. We call it the uninformed ballot test because we have not really gotten into great detail whatsoever about, exactly how the dollars would be spent or how this may benefit their community. So the ballot measure, to ensure fire/emergency medical 911 response, including disaster preparedness, 24-hour staffing, and updated life-saving equipment and training, shall the city of Gonzales measure levying an annual partial tax of $349 for a single-family unit, $262 for a multi-unit, $148 to $201 plus $7, 7 cents per building square foot on non-residential parcels adjusted annually, providing approximately $665 a year, and would be on the books and ended, by voters, with funds dedicated exclusively to reliable 911 emergency medical fire response and requiring local control oversight be adopted. And again, no, this isn't the easiest thing to understand, but under the law of California, this is what they would see. So next slide, please, after reading that, would they support it? And so we find the uninformed ballot mesh where 64% would say yes, they would approve. 1/4 of respondents said yes, they would definitely support it. And 40% they would probably support it. And then we have 24% of folks saying no, that they would reject it, and 12% undecided. And when you look at the population subgroups, you can see somewhat of a difference where there's not a big difference between Democrat or Republican voters, or between men and women, or really by age. So overall, you are in a good place talking about, just before you even tell the city's story about why this is being considered. So next slide, please. What we do then in the survey is we then say, thank you for answering that question. We're now going to provide some information to you about why this ballot measure is being considered. And what we're really doing here is sort of spoon feeding, factual information about why this is being considered and really how the dollars would be spent. And so we walk through multiple things. Now, these information questions, as we call them, are ranked by the ones that, after reading it, people said, I'd be more likely to support the ballot measure after learning that. And number one is the revenue would only be used to fund the city's fire department services, operations, and programs, and that it could not be used for other city services or programs. That's really important. Sometimes, it's typically not great format to try to raise a tax that is not dedicated to a specific subject. Voters prefer to do that and rather have the money going into a general fund that may be spent or allocated on something by a future council or a current council that they're not supportive. So obviously that one resonated very well. Number two, and again, this is information that we would likely educate and inform your residents about. Without our local EMTs responding to emergency calls, residents would need to potentially wait up to 30 minutes for an ambulance. We're educating and letting them know that, hey, without our local EMT service and providing it to you, you could really wait for a long time in a severe accident. In addition, with the nearest emergency room being 20 minutes away, every second matters, and so forth. Third most popular, or the third most factual information, if the measure fails, Gonzales Fire Department may be forced to reduce service or shut down entirely. And then if you move on to the next slide, and I'm sure you have this presentation already, it will walk through the other. I won't go through everything, every information question, but as you go through these, and again, if you go to the next slide, please. Yep, thank you. We're testing and educating your community on all the reasons why. Currently, there are only 2 firefighters that are on duty at all times. That means if, responding to one incident, another incident, the response time is going to increase. 911 call volume has increased by 35% over the past 20 years. We're letting them know we're still providing the same amount of service on the same amount of dollars, even though our workload and our call volume has increased. Next slide, please. Homeowner insurance. This one pops pretty often when people learn. A fire department and the fire service has a strong correlation on the amount of your homeowner's insurance. And obviously, the more equipped and capable the fire service is in your community, it can have a significant impact on the cost of your homeowner insurance. And just so you know, that final one in here on the City of Gonzales Fire Department manages 1 fire station, is staffed by 2 firefighters at a given time. We always like to lead with that information so that the respondent and the community, we're just giving general information to people about the staffing levels and general information about the fire department. So next slide, please. And, after we educate our respondents with that information, we then say, okay, now that you've read this ballot language and you've learned more about why this is being considered, we're asking you again, would you vote for this ballot measure or would you vote no and reject it? And just so you know, the respondent would read through the exact ballot language again. And as you can see, definitely yes or definitely support is up to 39%, or 4 out of 10 voters, and 32% say that they are likely to vote yes. So the next slide shows, if we could go to the next slide, please. The movement. So our uninformed ballot, before we really walked through and educated respondents on how this ballot measure would benefit them and the department, and so forth. Support increased by 7 points and opposition declined by 6 points. So what we're trying to do here is just forecast down the road if this is put on the ballot next year, and the discussion in the community is okay, and assuming that the ballot language does not change, excuse me. We're just trying to forecast perhaps how support levels would materialize in a June 2026 election. So with that, the next slide, we are all done. So that's our presentation. And with that, we're happy to discuss and answer any questions that you may have, or talk about anything else that you wish.
This is so we'll keep talking. It's just mine loud. So if there's no questions for the folks from Magellan, then we can go ahead and close the item out. And then Estella, if you can reduce the mic's volume.
Okay.
No question?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge will be educating our community And B, having a good fire department or an adequately staffed fire department means lower insurance premiums. And if we can get that across to the local residents, I think should have no problem in getting this passed, because I totally understand if you have adequate staffing, you should have adequate coverage. And so, and obviously, fire insurances are looking for any reason to leave California. Personally, I don't want Gonzales to give them a reason to leave Gonzales. So I'm gonna just share the message whenever I can. And I suggest that everyone does that.
Yeah, and I think as we move forward and we can also have more information available and break it down to it's easily explained to folks, because sometimes, we try to explain, but if there's a visual picture of what it would look like, I think that makes it a lot easier for us to carry that message out.
Yes, for sure. All righty, thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next item. The next presentation is Alliance on Aging, Local Aging and Disability Action Plan. Okay.
Good evening. Can you guys all hear me just fine?
Yes.
Excellent. I want to thank all of you, Mayor Rios, council members, for the opportunity to present the Local Aging and Disability Action Plan, known as the LAD. My name's MJ Donahue. I am the new executive director for Alliance on Aging. I've been there for 2 months. So this report, was developed by actually our former executive director, Teresa Sullivan, and she is on with us today on Zoom. And she is a cherished advisor to myself, the board, and the organization. We like to have continuity and transparency. In August 2023, Alliance on Aging was awarded a grant by the California Department of Aging to develop a local model for the California Master Plan on Aging. The LADAP is a community-driven, multi-sector plan that builds upon the decades of work already carried out by many dedicated individuals and organizations in our local communities. The LADAP project area focuses on the rural and agricultural sections of North and South Monterey County and the greater Salinas area. The domains of livability, AARP has identified 8 of those, all seen here on the graph. Alliance on Aging adapted AARP's 8 domains of livability, embedding respect and social inclusion across all the domains, and adding disaster preparedness and services. And then we'll move to slide 4, the LADAP process. It began with convening LADAP Advisory Council, which included representatives from 37 organizations and 15 community members from throughout the project area. Advisory Council members have been engaged at every stage of the LADAP process and have participated in a total of 45 meetings and will continue to meet in the implementation stage. An asset inventory of local resources was completed, which included presentations to the Advisory Council from 39 local organizations representing multiple sectors. A community assessment was done in Spanish and English from March to June of 2024, facilitated by Applied Survey Research. During that time, 397 individuals completed the survey. In addition, a stakeholder survey was completed by 42 stakeholder individuals. In October of 2024 through January of 2025, 8 community forums called Solution Summits were conducted in Spanish and English throughout the project area. This included Gonzales, Soledad, Greenfield, King City, Salinas, Castroville, and Prunedale. 232 community members participated. 191 were Hispanic, 222 were over age 60. In February of 2025, the advisory group was convened to select priority recommendations for the action plan based on the results of the surveys and the solutions summits. They broke up into domains and were asked to identify at least one priority goal and to identify additional key recommendations. In June of 2025, at the Board of Supervisors meeting, AARP presented Monterey County with their certification as a member of the National Network of Age-Friendly Cities and States. This was based on the LADAP team's work and the rich local history of fostering age-friendly communities throughout our county. Slide 5, priority goals and recommendations. As a culmination of this community-driven work, the LADAP is a comprehensive guide with background data and priority action recommendations. You've all been given a hard copy of the plan in English and in Spanish. All the recommendations by domain are included in the executive summary. In the interest of time, I will summarize one key priority in each of the domain areas. First, civic participation. Establish a community-based group that reflects the full diversity of each project area. The outcome goal is to provide increased interaction, communication, and understanding for community members, city and county representatives. Employment. Create and distribute a resource guide for older adults and individuals with disabilities in project areas. The guide will provide access information related to employment, education, training, and volunteer resources. Additionally, collaborate with key employment and training partners to ensure they are able to meet the needs of older adults and people with disabilities. Communication and information. Focusing on rural areas, develop a communication strategy that increases awareness, understanding, and access to services, resources, and benefits that impact the lives of diverse older adults, people with disabilities, family members, and their caregivers. Disaster preparedness and services. By December 2025, develop a communication strategy for disaster preparedness and response pertaining to the aging and disability populations. Health services. Improve access to healthcare specialists in rural areas for older adults and people with disabilities, starting in South Monterey County. Long wait times for appointments and lack of transportation pose health risks and significant challenges in accessing necessary and timely healthcare. Community supports. Ensure the continuation of gatherings for seniors and the disabled. These events positively impact isolation. They provide access to resources, nutrition, health and wellness, and overall quality of life for older adults, caregivers, and people with disabilities. Housing. To address the need for affordable housing for older adults and people with disabilities, promote the option of creating accessory dwelling units, ADUs, for older adult homeowners, family members, caregivers, and potential tenants. Outdoor spaces. This recommendation aims to improve accessibility and safety for older adults and people with disabilities through targeted sidewalk and traffic control repairs and enhancements. The city of Salinas will actually serve as the pilot site to model a process that can be then replicated in other areas and communities. Throughout the LADAP community engagement process, residents across all communities consistently identified deteriorating sidewalks as a major barrier to mobility and safety. While civic leaders are aware of these concerns, developing a plan and settling priorities that align with community expectations has proven challenging. This recommendation seeks to support that effort by facilitating collaboration between city officials and LADAP community groups to create a transparent, community-informed approach to addressing these issues. Social participation. Increase senior programming activities, social activities, walking, exercise, and educational opportunities. Finally, transportation. The goal is to improve community members' access to transportation for healthcare visits through education and collaboration with local healthcare providers and community support organizations in the rural areas of Monterey County, including the North and South County areas. As you can see in the graph, the LADAP themes are increased access, particularly in rural areas, communication that addresses diverse communities, collaboration across sectors, maximizing resources, civic and social engagement opportunities. The leadership role: integrate LADAP into city decisions and policies that impact the lives of older adults and people with disabilities. Promote and support civic participation opportunities for older adults and people with disabilities. Collaborate with Senior Network and other sectors in communicating information that benefits older adults and people with disabilities. I want to thank you from Alliance on Aging and all those who took part and developed the LADAP for your time today. The report is available on our website at allianceonaging.org. Teresa Sullivan, who I introduced earlier, is here and available on Zoom to answer any of your questions, or she can be reached at tsullivan@allianceonaging.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
And just kind of glancing over the program and reading some of the concerns, and, you know, we've been to the senior luncheons and see how well attended those are. And even though it's just, you know, once a month, the seniors really have a great time, and just that need to gather and to get information from other agencies that attend as well is it's really good to see that happening. And I wish we could do more than once a week, but that's a challenge.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment, and that is, I was lucky enough to participate. Hi, Teresa, in the Solution Summit, and very interesting. I was glad to be a part of it. I sat at a bilingual table, which was kind of unique, and I got to meet a lady that I see now at all the senior luncheons, and it was a lady that just lives down the street from me. So now I've met a new friend, and I want to congratulate the Alliance on Aging for all that they do for all of our cities, and especially when they do come and help support our senior events here once a month. Hopefully they'll start up again in September because they take the summers off. So anyhow, thank you so much for all, and congratulations on your new role as the executive director. I've not had the pleasure to meet you, but welcome, and thank you.
And thank you for your time and your patience. And I can share from my own personal experiences. The only way I get around town here is the Shoelace Express. And you're absolutely correct. We have work to do. Our biggest challenge, and it continues to be, I think, we're not just Gonzales, but almost every other community, is the funding. But we have a very wise and energetic young city manager who is working diligently to find that funding to repair all those sidewalks.
All sidewalks.
All sidewalks. But no, totally understand and appreciate your comments. I can't read this, but I'm sure my wife will read it for me, and we'll discuss it. But thank you so much for your time and your patience.
Through the mayor, if I could also just add and say thank you to the Alliance on Aging. Councilmember Silva is correct. They've been partners with us in helping to provide chair yoga, a lot of the workshops, the art workshops we've been hosting, the food workshops, et cetera. So it's been a pleasure having their support here locally. And we hope that we can continue to expand on that partnership and offer even more for our seniors in the community. So just thank you, and want to make sure everybody knows that you guys have been a great partner in all that programming we've been able to offer.
Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much for your service.
All righty, moving on to comments from the public. Any member of the public may address the council for a period not to exceed 2 minutes on any item not on the agenda. The council will listen to all correspondence, but will make no comment and take no action. Yes. Anybody coming?
Ready?
No.
All right, Henry Martinez Jr. Oh, I had a glorious day at court. the district attorney refused to file the charges against me that the officers put on me. So that means, why was I arrested? Because two officers wanted to be vindictive. And these two officers are Bowen, the sergeant, and Prunetta. These two officers are racist. They didn't have to pull guns on kids. They didn't have to beat me while I was in handcuffs, which I filed a complaint with the city. Now I'm going to be seeking damages from the city from this action because it was a false arrest now. And I've still yet to hear from the police department on the arrest of the former mayor that made death threats. They're not doing anything about it, so I'm gonna have to take it to the sheriff's and he's gonna get his day in court. And so it's, if you can notice, as the police tend to get more violent, we have to protect ourselves. I now have a vest. You know, I'm not gonna get struck anymore. I'm not gonna get shot, nor am I gonna get tased for no apparent reason. This has gotta stop. And if it's, you know, if it's not you, the police doing anything, the city's gonna have to pay. I know well that I can't sue the police department. They are defended, but the city is not who employs them. So I've already talked to the city manager and asked them if I could file a claim for my bail money that I spent. I have not heard back yet. So I'm gonna wait another week before I'm gonna let this go over to the attorney's office and let them deal with it, because I'm gonna get my money back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Henry Martinez. Bowen, the sergeant, Corporal him, and the other sergeant, the sergeant Mendoza, struck me with a flashlight last year at the 4th of July with a mag light, which was a felony assault. I gave you guys all a copy of the law. It's the law. It is called citizen arrest, and it's 837, the penal code. Your officers took an oath here in front of us that they were going to protect us and obey all laws. The chief does not want to talk to me. I tried to talk to him on the day night out. He walked away from me. I'm trying to explain to him, he got the paper. I tried to give that officer that is also the law, that they have to, not their choice, their decision not to do it or to do it. It is by law, they have to take my complaint and say I was felony assaulted by the officer. I have two witnesses that heard my witness say that they struck me twice. That was Ferrero and Perez. Hope they had their cameras on, because the witness testified to them that I got hit twice. And I still have not gotten the chief to call me on citizen arrest. In failure to abide by the laws, he's unbecoming an officer and shouldn't hold that job, because he's failing to do his job as he signed a contract with the city, because he contracted to protect us and to listen to us and to take my complaint and arrest that officer and let the DA decide whether there's enough evidence, not him or the other officers. All officers
Thank you, Mr.
refuse to
Martinez.
take my complaint.
Sorry, time is up. Anyone else wishing to speak? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Roman Barba. I wanted to talk about sidewalks. Well, we all know Fainal's been with the sidewalks for years now. They haven't been fixed. One thing I want to talk about is the 4th of July. I went to the 4th of July on my bike, and I was run out of the park. Told me I wasn't allowed to even have my bike in the park. So a lot of us have doctor's excuses. I'm 68 years old. This ankle's been broken 3 times. A lot of us have letters from our doctors to ride bikes and to walk. We got to be walking and stuff. Well, I got chased out of the park. So I guess I think at the 4th of July, they should have a bike rack on the side for the people that are riding bikes or whatever. They could put their bikes on the racks and they can go to the park, not get run out of the park. Also too, I was riding my bike over here on, by the bank. So my mom fell down, my sister called me and she needed some help to pick her up. So I decided to turn my bike around. Police officer pulled me over, gave me a ticket for riding my bike the wrong way. So the only thing I could think of is the police department has something against me because I am one of the Martinez's witnesses. What happened out here from the front of our city hall over here. I am the Martinez's witness. So I think they see me as a, I don't know what, but I've been riding a bike for 18 years. Actually, since I've been 18, I have 12 different bikes. I ride bike every day. I couldn't believe that I got a ticket for going the wrong way on the street. Couldn't believe it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Barba. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Larry Rodriguez, community member, coach, and president of the Spartan 300 Club, a nonprofit organization. To my right is our board member, excuse me, is Johnny Sinclair Violini. So this year, fireworks sales campaign was once a resounding success, thanks to remarkable and unwavering support from our local community. The involvement and enthusiasm from families, friends, and neighbors not only created a festive spirit, but also fueled our efforts to make a meaningful difference for our area students. Our sales exceeded previous years, reflecting both the dedication of our club members and community commitment to our cause. Each purchase contributed directly to our scholarship fund, allowing us to expand our support for local youth seeking higher education opportunities. As a result of this year's campaign, we are proud to announce an increase in the number and total number of scholarships awarded. This growth means that we can reach more deserving students. The continued success of our fireworks sales underscores the power of collective effort and the positive impact of community-driven initiatives. On behalf of the Spartan 300 Club, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who participated, volunteered, and supported our event in any way. Special thanks to our city mayor and our fire chief as well, and forming the fireworks committee and the members. We created new opportunities for our scholars. We look forward to building on this momentum in the coming year. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have something to say.
Yes, please step up.
Okay. This is only the second meeting I've ever been to. In the first meeting, I wanted to slap the shit out of these guys, excuse me, the Martinez's, but on another defense, when I come back from the fireworks last 4th of July on the 24th, I come out and I watch fireworks. Never lit a fuse myself. Saw a Hispanic male come across our field lighting fireworks. Anyway, I'm not saying that Martinez's didn't do it, but after I know the way he acts here and stuff, I think the police did have it out for him. I could have told you guys who was going to get busted. And all those resources were over at his house as the rest of the town went crazy. Anyway, I continued to watch all the blue and red lights on the other side of the wall from my house. Here comes 2 cop cars from Salinas going by my house 100 miles an hour. Barely made this turn on 10th Street. They were going so fast. Anyway, I'm not saying Henry didn't do nothing or other, but told him that I would testify in the court that I saw another guy lighting fireworks over there. And I think that the city's gonna have to pay him some money. That's all I think. I'm not trying to get you guys. And I had really fought with coming up here because I don't want to have repercussions come across myself now of what is, are they going to be after me now for coming up and testifying? But all I know is I don't lie, steal, or cheat, do drugs, and I'm just telling the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no one. Oh, got one more? Okay, thank you.
How you doing? My name is Stephen Romero, president of the Shield Bearers Organization, nonprofit organization for the Gonzales High football team. Just reiterating what Larry said, it was a great year this year. We're super ecstatic of the support from the community. Able to raise enough money to give the boys what we do with this money is give them a meal before each game. So what we were able to raise was enough to support that and just give back to the community and the boys as well. With our organization, we were able to give back 99 cents per dollar raised back to the boys themselves as a football organization. So we're super ecstatic and just thankful to the community of supporting us, and especially after, the last few years of what happens, great, super awesome. So yeah, we're super ecstatic and hopefully every year goes the same. Yep, but thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Okay. Well, I have to count on Liz to make sure that I'm not seeing everything correctly, but it sounds like we don't have anyone else running up to the podium. So at this point, I will go ahead and ask Estella. Estella, do we have any comments via Zoom?
No one via Zoom.
Thank you. Mary, any comments via email?
No comments via email.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and.
Mayor,
Yes.
I will note that we did receive a written comment on Monday, August 18th. That would be today, this morning at 8 a.m. from Andrew Brown. And Mr. Brown made a public comment regarding the mural that's displayed on Belden. He also indicated at the end of his comment that his comment was intended as a satire. He makes a number of comments about the mural and so forth, but we'll just create, that comment will become a part of the public record we'll attach. Just wanted to let you know though that we did have an additional comment.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Appreciate that. All righty, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment period and bring it back to further council agenda items. So the next list on this is items 5 through 14, which is the consent agenda. So if you've had an opportunity to review, if there's anything you'd like to pull, please say so now. If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Obviously not opposed. All right, moving on. And Mr. Tavin, I believe this is our housing element that you graciously put together. And so I will ask you please to read that to the record and then to give your staff report. Mr. Kinnison Brown?
Thank you very much. Hopefully this mic will work. Reading into the record and my report are almost one and the same here. So please, staff recommends that engage the second reading of the City of Gonzales housing element and its implementation ordinances, that we conduct this public notice hearing. And the item is public hearing to consider waiver of second reading read by the title only and adopt ordinance 2025-152, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Gonzales approving the new six-cycle housing element by amending Title 12, which are zoning regulations with associated zoning maps and zoning regulation text changes as follows. Provisions in Chapter 12.08 definitions, Chapter 12.20 site plan permits, Chapter 12.48 density bonus, Chapter 12.56 summary of zoning districts and permitted uses, Chapter 12.68 regarding R1 medium density residential district, Chapter 12.112 general applications, and Chapter 12.120 parking. And this ordinance includes the addition of new chapters, 12.54 reasonable accommodations, Chapter 12.110 AHO affordable housing overlay, and Chapter 12.154 local education agency lands, Chapter 12.156 employee housing, Chapter 12.158 licensed residential care facilities, and Chapter 12.160 transitional and supportive housing,
and amending the zoning map to comply with the general plan. So as you recall, just on August 4th, we made a presentation with slides and introduced the whole housing element and adopted the housing element and took action on the first reading of the implementation ordinances. This constitutes the second. And if the council has the desire, we can go into details on anything that's been presented previously. But this really concludes staff's presentation, and we think it's a finishing of a long several years of effort. And the bottom line is this brings us, this and the other contracts, the contract for implementation that was on your consent calendar will bring us current with state laws regarding housing. And so, thank you. That concludes staff's presentation.
Okay. Any council discussion? All right.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and open this item to the public. Any member of the public wishing to comment on this item may do so at this time. Okay. So Liz says there's no unrush of people, so we'll go ahead and ask Estela. Any comments via Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Mary, any comments via email? Thank you. All right, we'll bring it back. And I believe we have to do this in 3 parts. Is that correct, Mr. Rodriguez? Or can we do it in one fell swoop? Okay.
You're just giving the ordinance.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve and adopt ordinance number 2025-152 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is AB 481, an annual report on use of military equipment. Hopefully I've covered that correctly. Maybe I missed something, but if I did, Mr. Rodriguez, please correct me.
All right, I will do. So council, basically, the city this evening is taking its annual effort to maintain transparency and accountability on behalf of the police department's possession and use of military equipment. In response to concerns about police departments throughout the state using military weapons and so forth for law enforcement purposes, in 2022, the legislature adopted Government Code Section 7070, which required all cities to adopt an ordinance and a policy that pertains to the possession, use, and acquisition of military equipment. And the city of Gonzales adopted its policy by way of ordinance number 2022-131 on June 20th of 2022. Now, also attached to the adoption of the ordinance is a two-pronged requirement on an annual basis of the city. First, the city has to review the adopted policy and the ordinance and decide whether to renew the ordinance that's already in place. And the second thing that the city has to do is the police department has to prepare and submit an annual report on the military equipment they have in their possession and receive public comment on the same. So, and way back on May 19th, it seems like quite a while ago this year, the police department submitted its 2024-2025 report. Report was thereafter posted on the city's website in accordance with legal requirements, and has also been posted in various other forms of social media. We initially set a hearing on the police report for the council's regular agenda on July 21st, and then subsequently rescheduled it to today's date. And policy 709, which is the original policy that was adopted by the police department for the use, acquisition, and maintenance of military equipment, has been continuously posted on the city's website since it was adopted back in 2022. Policy 709 has not been substantially changed since its adoption in 2022. Reports with the Lexipol policy. Lexipol is an entity that provides personnel rules, policies, and so forth for police departments throughout the United States. The majority of police departments in the state of California use the Lexipol rules, and the policy that is in place that the city has at this time is comports with the Lexipol policy. The annual report on the military equipment also remains unchanged from previous years. The report indicates that the department has not acquired any new military equipment, currently possess 9 semi-automatic rifles, 3 less lethal projectile launchers, and 1 unmanned aerial system, i.e. a drone. The drone's the only recent department purchase of military equipment since the new law came into place and was approved by the adoption of ordinance 2023-141 in October of 2023. There are no records of sustained complaints regarding the use of the equipment during this year, no records of any violations of use. And the report also indicates that all costs related to the equipment are within the department's established budget. So this evening, the council needs to conduct a community meeting to receive comment and discuss the annual report. And thereafter, the state law requires the council to review and consider renewal of the ordinance that adopted the original military equipment policy. Since there's been no changes to the types of military equipment that the city has had in place in the last year, all the findings that were made in the original ordinance that was adopted in policy 709 in 2022 should also remain unchanged. Staff recommends that both the annual report and the ordinance and policy 709 be renewed for another year by way of the resolutions before you this evening. The annual report's been prepared in accordance with legal requirements. There have been no changes to the policy. So,
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions from council? None? Okay. Then I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Anyone that wishes to speak on this item may do so at this time. Again, you're limited to 2 minutes. Okay.
Henry Martinez Jr. I don't know how many times I got to catch you guys in a lie. He said nobody complained about the military equipment.
No, just a minor correction. I said there were no sustained complaints regarding the use of the city's military equipment.
Well, there was complaints though, right?
Yeah, and that's what I said.
Okay.
Let's sustain.
Because I complained about privacies and clearly violated privacies, even showed it here inside the city council meeting of violating the privacies of people's homes. You know, we have privacy. We have laws to protect our privacy. And we all, you know, we also have due process. You can't record somebody's home, especially in their backyard, with a warrant. And it clearly, you guys showed it here. We were looking at some guy's backyard, seeing what he was doing in the backyard. They didn't notify him. But going back to military equipment, as these officers get more military equipment, you can see us civilians start getting our own military equipment. Who's to prevent me from buying a tank and put it in my front yard? Nothing. You know, we instead of buying this kind of stuff, maybe we should start de-escalating and start reducing some of the costs that these police departments have been burning up. You guys know well, we don't have money. And we can't afford to be spending any more.
Henry Martinez. I was born in the area, age of Aquarius. Make love, not war. I sat here as a second complaint to this council that I'm opposed to military use equipment. I told them I'm opposed to this police department. Their actions year after year, violating our civil rights, discriminating against us, refusing to talk to us, refusing to take complaints of citizen arrest. The drone operator is the one that struck me. And he's out there still working and ticketing people. His tickets are going to be invalid as soon as they arrest him with a felony assault, because he shouldn't have been out there this year recording, because he should have been sitting in jail, felony assault. And I sit here, where in the ATL, we need 8 machine guns. We're a peaceful, loving community. We just have 1 or 2 bad apples, and you're going out there to buy machine guns? And they would have used it on one of our citizens. Several years back, I don't think they ever found the gun that supposedly the suspect was carrying, and the guy shot off about 6 to 8 rounds. And boy, I could hear that a block away, that machine gun. And like I said, they didn't find that gun that the officer said that he got shot by. And that was one incident, so own 9 machine guns, and these cops are unstable. You can see my videos on Gonzalez Real News. You can see Perez with his angry face pointing the gun at me and telling me, asking me if I hit the officer that I saved and pointing that taser at me. You lucky he didn't tase me. My heart condition will kill me.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. No one else? Okay, this is your chance. All right. Well, go ahead and ask Estella, do we have anyone via Zoom?
Yes, Andrew Brown.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I just have kind of miscellaneous questions about it, like outreach, I guess, because someone says social media, and I could be wrong, but they said they'll be notified social media or something like that. And I just see the website, at least it's on the website, the new report. But I don't see any like thing on Instagram where it shows like military report. And by the hearing it, it sounds like it's no issue. It's just like, oh yeah, we bought these things a while ago, and you don't add anything. You just have they're still in the closet, which is fine. That's kind of all the questions. I just, outreach and transparency on this issue, not where it's like a big surprise where you have to go digging for it. But yeah, that's all my questions or concerns.
Thank you. Mary, is that the only one, or do we have others? Is that,
That's the only comment.
okay. Mary, any comments via email? Thank you. We'll bring it back to the council. I'm going to say something. I hope it's not inappropriate, but as you know, I have many relatives in law enforcement. One of them shared with me that his commander told him, I'd rather you be judged by 12 than carried by 6. I get it. I know that we're a small, quiet community, but there's been too many Sandy Hooks, too many places where some guy just loses it. So far, no gals that I'm aware of, but so far, there's been a number of people that have lost it. And I'd rather know that our police department has the resources, God forbid, if ever they were needed, they have them, rather than, because almost every criminal out there has got way more firepower than any police officer on our force. It's a thankless job that nobody really wants to do. And I can't say I blame them. Honestly, if I had my say, none of my relatives would be in law enforcement, but they found it in their hearts that that's something that they wanted to serve their community. So bravo to them, and bravo to all the other men in blue. I take my hat off to all of you, because it's a thankless job that nobody wants. Okay, saying that much and getting that soapbox off. Any comments further from Councilman? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I just have one quick comment, and that is, just so the public understands, this is just an annual report. It does not mean that we have made any recent purchases. The police department is doing what is required of them. They're doing their due diligence to make an annual report, and that's all this is. It is not saying that they have purchased any additional equipment since the last report a year ago. So I just wanted to make sure that that was crystal clear to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number 2025-53 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All righty, moving on to oral communications from council. And I believe there are 3 reports here. League of Cities, AMBAG, and MST. AMBAG he's gone, and his substitute is also gone. MST is Lorraine, and she's not here either. League of Cities, I have nothing to report, so this is going to be a fast meeting here. Next is oral communications. Liz, we'll start on your side here, if you don't mind.
A little side note on the League of California Cities. I saw an email come from Deanne asking for any interested persons to step up and join their leadership group. So if anybody is so inclined, get in touch with her. So, as you all know, Monterey County Fair is coming up, and I'm part of the Heritage Foundation for Monterey County Fair. It will begin on August 27th and run through September 1st. I hope many of you plan to go and see all the wonderful exhibits that these young exhibitors have through 4-H and FFA. The auction will be on Saturday, August 30th at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'll be up and at 'em early. I hope there's not a lot of traffic between here and Monterey that morning. The other thing coming up, our city is involved this year with a Relay for Life, which is sponsored by the American Cancer Society. Paint Your Town Purple is coming up on August 28th. And I'm sure that there's going to be some decor over at City Hall. So if you feel so inclined, please wear purple that day to signify you're supporting the efforts of all those who raise the funds.
What day is that again, Liz?
The Thursday, August 28th. So if I see you in town and I see you wearing purple, I'll give you a clap or something. And finally, the big game of the year, Friday, September 5th, the annual Little Big Game between Gonzales and King City High School for the beloved megaphone, which has been going back and forth. Sometimes it goes back a couple of years longer than we want it to. And I just remember, wear your black and orange on Friday, September 5th. Come on out to the game. It's a first home game on our renovated stadium. It's, like I said, it's the annual rivalry, even though we're not in the same league anymore. I think those of us that went to school in King City, and we have one in the back of the room, an alumni, and those of us that are from Gonzales High remember all those years. In fact, I met a gentleman yesterday from Carmel, and he remembers coming to play on the field. I think I've shared this with Carmen before. Before the stadium was built, the football games were played on the field right there on 5th Street where they now practice. And when it would get dark, we didn't have lights in those days. So he says, I remember the farmers would gather their trucks all around the field, just so there was lights on the field. I said, finally, somebody remembers that. I think I've told Carmen that story a couple of times. Football's very big here in the Valley, and especially that game. So I know King City will wear their blue and white, Gonzales black and orange. I think there's going to be a little NoHo social at Luigi's that afternoon, starting about 3. Would be fun to see a lot of the alumni from both schools come and come and cheer on the Spartans as they fight for that megaphone. And let's get the win on our side again this year, guys. Thank you.
Ms. Orozco.
Yes, I just wanted to ask before I have some comments on the League of California Cities, the Bay Division. Are they having a meeting anytime soon? They would have dinners before and dinner meeting and get an update. We would get updates on what's happening in Sacramento from Deanna. Do you know if any?
There's one upcoming in Hollister, and I think it's in September. I can shoot you that email as soon
Okay,
as I get it.
thank you.
Sure.
Great, thank you. I just want to say, National Night Out was a great event. Every year it seems to get better and a lot of positive feedback from the community. Agencies that come provide information to our residents and our families that they normally wouldn't be able to get. I always am a firm believer that, we need to really make an effort to bring agencies into our community because sometimes that's the only time people get information about different services, whether it's, the county, the state, or other nonprofit groups. So again, thank you, Chief, and thank you to the staff and everyone who put that event together. It was a great event. I also want to say thank you to all of those who sponsored and supported Rotary's annual golf tournament. This is our annual fundraiser where we raise funds for our scholarships. We had a great turnout. Again, thank you to the business owners who sponsored and also those businesses who sponsored our silent auction. I think we had a report today and we've given out over close to, if not more than $200,000 in scholarships. So next year it'll be a bigger event. It'll be our 15-year anniversary doing the golf tournament. So I want to thank everyone for that. Also, St. Theaters is having their annual carnival on the 28th of September. So as we get closer to that, we'll have more information for everyone. Thank you. That's it.
I have a couple of things. First of all, I know I brought this up regarding the Fifth Street and the dip right at Elko and Fifth as you're going east. I just went out that way the other day with the wife and there's a dip. I know that we're tight on budget, but I can't imagine that we don't have enough dollars in the bank to be able to afford a few bags of asphalt mix. And I'm assuming we have a tamper, and if not, I have one, and I'll be happy to loan it to the city to get that hole filled. It's our main thoroughfare. It's where kids cross all the time, and I would really love to see that fixed. Be honest with you, one of my biggest frustrations with being on here rather than the private sector is the length of time to get things done. I know that the first time that we went out to bid on the signage for Fifth Street vehicles was somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000. Then it went to 75,000. And now we're at, what, 130? Now, we're fortunate that TAMSI had the funding for us, but I'm thinking, you know, when it was 25,000, if we didn't have the money, we should ask TAMSI for a loan. We'd have been dollars and cents ahead, because I'm thinking of all the time that it took to get to where we're at now and how much beating up that roadway took. Because you see the semis coming down that road on a consistent basis. I know that if we don't have the signage, we can't ticket them, but it's getting ridiculous. I really would like to see that done and completed. Please, anyway.
I'll follow up on that one, Mayor. I know that we put a work order in, but let me follow up on the dip.
I mean, you must hit it almost every night. you go home.
I went past it the other day and knew exactly what you're talking about, so
Okay.
I will follow up on that.
The other thing is, I just want to bring up and say most sincere thanks for minimizing the damage in yesterday's fire. Chief, your staff is to be commended. You guys, for little that you are, you're mighty. You take care of business. And I certainly appreciate it that all those embers didn't flow and that wind was just howling. My only concern in the comments that I got was that we did have officers on scene, police officers. And I don't know what the protocol is, but typically in an incident like that, I believe, Mr. Musho, you're the incident commander. And I don't know if you had to call the police department or they just showed up. But the comment was the officers were there, but they didn't block any of the streets. They were just there kind of talking. So it doesn't look well for our community to see officers that are technically there to support the fire department. They're on one side of it just together talking. They should be blocking that street so that we don't get all the looky-loos. There's a lot of rubberneckers, and last thing we need is some guy wanting to get that exact photo and that wall or that lumber falls on them, and who was to blame?
Mr. Mayor, I'll just say, at last night's fire, I had Corporal Castillo blocking 7th and Center for probably an hour and a half to keep looky-loos from running over our hoses. So they were needed and they were deployed in assistance to us, to our efforts.
So did they block both sides or just one?
We only needed them to block 7th and Center.
Okay.
That was the side we needed them to block.
Okay.
And he also assisted me with gathering information from the property owner for the report as well.
Okay. Well, the comments that I got was that neither side was blocked, so I'm glad to hear that it was, in fact. Okay. I thank you, because I told them that I would bring this up during the council meeting just to confirm, because it didn't sound totally correct to me, but you know, obviously you were the incident commander, so I'm assuming what you're telling me is obviously what happened. And I appreciate it. Like I said, I thank you and your team for doing what you do. Let's hope we don't have any more of those.
Mayor, if I could add on to that real quick, we have a total of 2 officers on duty at that particular time. One was busy. I've just seen a TikTok or YouTube, something come through that shows our officer rushing in with a fire extinguisher of all things, trying to do what he can to, you know, so, yeah, if immediately the street getting blocked off, there's a good reason for that.
No, and it's not the comment that they weren't blocked off. The comments that I heard was that they weren't blocked off and that the officers were there standing and talking to each other. And I thought, that doesn't seem right. So thank you for the clarification. That's really all I was looking for was clarification, and I knew I'd get it here. Jason, I apologize. I actually wanted to call you beforehand, but just busy, just too many things to do and not enough time to do them all. Appreciate it.
No problem.
They say that when you retire, you're supposed to be relaxed. I'm busier than when I was working. I kind of wish I was back at work. Maybe I'd still have my eyes. Anyway, those are my only comments, and I apologize, Carmen, for bringing that back again, but it's just a little frustrating when you ask for something, like I said, I'm not asking for rocket science here. I'm just asking for a couple of bags of ready mix asphalt, tamped down. City doesn't have a tamper. I've got one. I had to put a big paved backyard, so I needed a tamper. So I have it. City's welcome to borrow it.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that. We're a little short-staffed in Public Works, but and they've been busy with the plant, but I'll follow up with you tomorrow regarding kind of the status on that.
Thank you.
Ready for my comments?
Yeah, I am ready. Well, we're ready for your comments.
So the only thing I really have, I think most of my updates were addressed by either Councilmember Silva or Orozco, but the only thing is we do have a gardening day coming up on August 30th from 10 to 12. So if you're available, anybody wants to join us, we'll be out there for a while. The garden looks actually really nice right now with all the sunflowers. So if you haven't had a chance to go and see the beautiful sunflowers and the work that's been done out there, please stop by or drive by it just to admire them. And Chief Musi, I don't know if you have an update to share with us on the latest and greatest on the fire truck that's coming.
Yes, so I spoke to the representative last week. The truck is in California. It's in Fairfield at their facility undergoing final inspection and testing. And we are expecting or hoping for delivery the first week of September.
Wow, awesome.
Great. Once we get I should know by the end of this week, I have a better idea of the date. We're going to work on something for that delivery day.
Awesome. Awesome.
Actually, Mayor, I had one more thing I wanted to mention that I just skipped my mind. I wanted to thank the police department because at the National Night Out, we had karaoke and all by one of the officers. So if you missed it, he was out there, Officer, I think it was Perez, singing karaoke to the attendees, which was pretty neat to see. So I just
I
wanted
did
to.
attend. I missed the lesson a little bit too.
Yeah, me too. I missed the Serenata as well. So, but I saw it on video. So that was neat. I think that's it. Do you have anything to update?
Anything else?
Oh,
I had some.
go ahead.
We extended an offer of employment to a very strong candidate for the development services technician, and she has accepted, and you are targeting the start date of September 2nd. And I also will still maintain the midterm. That's some good things going on there, so it was good to have resources in office and also coming. And just one more little thing is we'll be gearing up again for the community-wide yard sale, which is 1 week in front of Maury Trey Levin's Bring Your Things to the Dump Free Day. And so well, hopefully people will unpack their yards and their garages, have good yard sales, and then what they don't want to put back in the house, they can deliver to Maury's collection point, and it'll get into the landfill and separate it. So we'll do that again here October 11 and 12, and her event follows the following weekend.
Fantastic. Capital planning. Excellent.
And just a side note, and she does have tables for things to be repurposed.
Ah.
So if you need to clear some shelf space of things you just don't want to collect dust on anymore, you can take them. Like, I think there's toys, usable toys, there's books, what else? Car seats, you name it, she'll repurpose it out there. She will find a home. So, great.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Through the chair, I actually did have comment, and that is, I just wanted to confirm when we met in closed session last meeting, we tentatively scheduled a special meeting for August 25th, which is next Monday. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was still available for that date. Yeah, okay. It should be a quick meeting. It's only one item on the agenda, and that's the city manager's contracts.
Okay. All right. There's nothing else. Then do I have a motion for adjournment?
Move. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. I'm waiting for a no, but I guess not. We stand adjourned. Thank you so much for 7:25.